Hey, it's Mel with the Medicine Couch. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that I really love. It's been one of my goals and dreams to live and work overseas somewhere one day. So I find it pretty ironic that the profession that I chose is one that makes it pretty difficult to do that. And it's not much easier for NPs either. So, how about you? I mean, you're watching this video. Has it been one of your dreams to live and work overseas? And are you searching for those opportunities? Well, I mean, hate to be the bearer of bad news. There isn't a whole lot of opportunity out there for PAs and NPs at this point in time to work overseas. But that doesn't mean that your dream of doing so is never going to come true, because while there's not a whole lot of options, there are some really great options in the options that exist. So we're gonna go through them, no particular order, but I am saving my favorite one for last, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. Now, arguably the hardest and most complicated way to work overseas as a PA or NP is to work directly for another country's health service. And those options pretty much just exist in like Canada, England, and Scotland. And while those options exist, it does take a lot of work, a lot of research, and a mountain of paperwork before you will be able to work overseas in one of those countries. But there are PAs and NPs who have done it and who are over there working right now. There are also some other countries like Saudi Arabia, New Zealand, and Ireland who have actually had programs to bring US trained PAs over to their countries to start practicing, kind of as a way to introduce the practice to the country and to help jumpstart the PA profession over there in their countries. These are opportunities that seem to pop up and go away and pop up and go away. So you really just have to keep your eyes out for them, and try to get connected into the global community to know when they come available. But having said that, there is a far easier route to working overseas in a country, and that is by working in one of the US territories. We often forget that the US has territories, so outside of, the US mainland and Hawaii and Alaska, you have options such as Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and the US Virgin Islands. I do have to put a little asterisk next to Puerto Rico because I was trying to research and get ready for this video, and I realized I'm not exactly sure how licensure stands in Puerto Rico right now. In the other territories, it's similar to applying for any state license, so it's not that much of a difficult process. But in Puerto Rico, the PA profession wasn't even recognized till recently, and it wasn't an option before unless you were working with the government, like at the VA in Puerto Rico. But I did see on AAPA's site that a law was passed saying that PAs can now be licensed in Puerto Rico, but they didn't have prescriptive authority, I think. So if you're somebody who's watching this and you know more information on that, leave a comment down in the comment section to let other people know what kind of options are available in Puerto Rico. But if those options don't exist right now, there are groups that are moving towards getting PAs recognized and working in Puerto Rico, so that will likely be an option in the future. Now, I did look at a job that was advertised for working in the Northern Mariana Islands. It was a locums job, but you're on an island that has a very low population, like less than 3,000 people, and you are pretty much it. You are the medical person for the entire island. You handle anything that comes up. If it's beyond your scope, then you refer people to providers on the larger islands. And if it's an emergency, they can be airlifted to the other islands. I know that that would have been a very adventurous job. Beautiful beaches, I'm sure, incredible diving, which is what I was most attracted to. But I knew I did not have the training and I did not have the desire to be the only medical person on the island. Now, you can look at islands like Guam and the Virgin Islands. They are much larger, more populated islands, and they have a much larger healthcare system. You can even work on those islands as a specialty. In fact, when I was preparing for this video, I just did kind of a quick search like Indeed and our job boards, and I was able to find jobs in Let me see, I'm gonna read my list here. Cardiology, urology, dermatology, oncology, wound care, emergency medicine, urgent care, and the NICU. All those positions are currently open right now in Guam or the Virgin Islands. So if you want easy licensure, you want to, work in American territory, but still you're getting outside of the US and you're working overseas somewhere, don't forget to check out the US territories. Of course, another popular way, and probably the way that most people think of working overseas as a PA or NP, is through the military. But there are a couple options associated with the military. The first one is to actually be in the military, to be a commissioned officer, and you have the possibility of working in military bases around the world. But the problem, besides the fact that you're, in the military, which is not necessarily a problem, but I mean, that is a definite career step. But you also don't get guaranteed that you're going to get to serve overseas. You can keep requesting the posting, but you may never make it overseas. So the other options are going to be more interesting for people who do not want to actually join the military. You can work on military bases around the world as a civilian government employee or as a medical contractor. There's contract companies that are pretty easy to find by doing a Google search that do these Army contract or these military contracts. And these are the same companies that you can work with and go overseas. Now, I've only seen in the searching I've done over the past year or two, I've only seen listings for jobs in Germany, but there are US bases in other places, like Italy and Japan. So I would imagine that those jobs come available from time to time. I think it's probably a pretty competitive job. And I think the people that have the best chance of getting those are people who are already working on US bases as a contractor. The other one is working, like I said, as a civilian government employee. And I'm not really sure how hard it is to get those jobs. I would imagine pretty difficult. And again, anyone who's already working in the government system, is already a government employee, will probably have a much higher chance of getting those postings when they come available. But just know that there are other options with the military besides actually being in the military. So here's the one that you probably haven't thought of, and is working for the CIA. That's right, the CIA does hire PAs and NPs. You may be wondering, what the are you going to be doing for the CIA? But it looks like that PAs and NPs that work for the CIA are delivering medical and traumatic care in austere environments around the world. Your duties would be anything from treating minor illnesses and injuries up to, emergency and traumatic care. And things like establishing remote duty and field clinics in austere environments, to things like providing medical education and education on survival skills. Little bit of vagueness there. It is the CIA. I couldn't find a whole lot more information about it. They do say that, PAs and NPs who join up with the CIA start their careers in Washington, D.C. You work there for a while, but every PA and NP will need to deploy for at least 6 months or longer. At the time of making this video, I did look at CIA.gov, which is where the jobs are posted and information about the jobs are posted. But it said that there were no current openings at this time. But I have, over the past several years, often seen CIA jobs come available. So it's something to put on your radar, and remember to check in from time to time to see if they have job openings available. So now we've come to my favorite option, and what I think is the best option of all of the ones I mentioned. And it's working for the State Department, staffing the U.S. embassies around the world. There are more than 160 embassies. So you have lots of options, from very unusual, remote, austere environments to like the big embassies in Europe. Now, you may be thinking, well, yeah, that's great, but how are you going to do that with a family? This isn't a great option for that. But really, it is. The State Department does a lot to help people bring their families with them. And I've actually talked with the State Department, and I've interviewed 2 PAs and 1 NP that are currently serving overseas at different embassies. And when I get those videos all together, they'll probably be coming out in the next several months. I'll have a general overview about the working for the State Department, where I answer some of the basic questions. And then I will be posting each of those 3 interviews And they all talk about different things and share their experiences and kind of the unique things they've done. But all of them have families and they all talk about what it's like bringing your family, and they talk about all the practical stuff like, moving and schools and their kids and languages and all of that stuff. So just know that I know what I'm talking about when I say it definitely can be done with families. Again, it's a government position. You're going to have great benefits and great retirement. So there's just a lot of pluses with this job, and I am really excited about it, and I can't wait to bring you those videos. In the meantime, if you want to look into it further, you can go to the State Department's career website and read about being a PA or an NP, and I'll put the link to that down below. But I really hope you watch those videos because it is so interesting and fascinating. If you are somebody who wants to live overseas, it is such a great option. And one other great thing I want to mention is that you don't have to be like some crazy badass emergency medicine PA. They really want people who have family practice skills, including OB and pediatrics, because you're going to be taking care of families around the world. So it is an option that is really open to a lot of people. So the options I've mentioned here today are not the only way that you can work overseas as a PA or an NP, but they are the most common pathways. And a lot of other things that you find may pop up are going to be like kind of unicorn jobs. For instance, I have interviewed a PA that worked in Antarctica at the South Pole. You can find that video on my main channel playlist under cool and unusual PA and NP jobs. So I hope this list has been helpful for you. As soon as I get the State Department videos done, I will link them here at the end. But in the meantime, you can check out these other videos. Thanks for joining me today. Take care, stay sane, and I'll see you next time on the Medicine Couch. Bye.